Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to my favorites of 2014, part 2, where I'm joined by some friends, Travis, John, and Matt, to discuss our favorites of 2014. But before we get to that, I just wanted to mention on March 7th, I went to Reading, Pennsylvania to attend the 10th anniversary recording session for Comic Geek Speak. And I just want to say I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of really cool and interesting people. It was just great fun to hang out with the geeks and to celebrate their 10 years. So I wanted to officially, on my show, wish them a very happy anniversary and best of luck for the next 10 years on Comic Geek Speak. And without further ado, here is part 2 of our favorites of 2014. All right, so we are at our favorite moment. Travis, what is your favorite moment in comics in 2014?
That's always, hard. There wasn't anything outside of an actual comic itself, because I know sometimes in the past we've used this as kind of a category to say, an announcement or, that sort of a thing. But for me, this time it was in a comic. I had originally written down that it was something from Saga, but I went back and looked, and actually that happened the prior year, so I couldn't really do that. But I'm going to go with in East of West, issue number 15. At the very end, there's a character in this, for people who don't know, who is the offspring of death, the son of death, of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, death, and he is escaping from a prison that he's spent most of his entire life in. He's I guess he's like a teenager, but very smart and that sort of thing. He's hooked up to a personal computer that are basically his eyes that show him the world. There is a prophecy that this kid will end the world, and but he seems like a reasonable kid. He escapes from this prison he's been in this entire time. He's running away, and his computer, his onboard computer, which is, like I said, tied to his eyes, and it's like tethered to him, and its name is Balloon. It goes by Balloon. That's what the kid calls it, is Balloon. And it's showing him the world, and it's showing him this world where it's a vast wasteland, burnt up fields, and that sort of stuff, and the son of death is saying, yeah, this is horrible, we have to fix all of this. I mean, clearly humans and society are just destroying everything. We need to take care of all this, fix the problem, implying that he's going to do something really big and awful potentially. And then the final page is you see what is actually there, and he's wandering across this beautiful rolling fields of sunflowers and whatnot. So you get this sudden reveal that this computer is actually the evil thing. It's not the kid, but because of what he's feeding to the kid is going to become basically the equivalent of, I don't know, the Antichrist or that sort of thing, based on the reveal. And I thought it was incredibly effective, because you get this panel of him being shocked. Here's the wasteland that he's seeing. It's just, everything is horrible. It's just burnt and decayed thing. And then you flip the page, and he's talking about how depressed he is, about how horrible everybody wrecked everything. And really, it's like a tranquil painting that he's walking through. Everything is beautiful. So, to me, it was very impactful.
Yeah, I had a similar response to that. I enjoyed that moment as well.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I had all kinds of cussing of surprise when I was like, "Holy," But yeah, that's my favorite moment.
Any other moments you want to mention?
No, that's it.
All right, Matt, what's your favorite moment?
All right. Well, my runner-up was in the Edge of the Spider-Verse, which is the Spider-Man multiverse thing going on. There was one page which had the Hostess Fruitcake Spider-Man getting eaten by one of the vampire-like creatures hunting down all the Spider-Men. And that was just amazing to just have them play with that directly.
Yeah.
And I just kept coming back to that page.
Wait, are you being literal? That this is not like an exaggeration of something?
No, no, no. So the page is it's Spider-Man being like, I just saved the day with the hostess fruit pie. They might have used some, slightly, you know what they're talking about. And then he's swinging through, and one of these Morloon characters, which are the whole bad guys of this whole thing, they feast off of like this totem spider energy that all these spider-related characters are, and they're traveling through all these universes to get at them, which is the impetus for this whole thing. He basically just lands in front of this guy and just kind of grabs him, sucks out the energy, and says, that was quite tasty, and ends with a little hostess thing. And it's just this one page, and it's just brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my runner-up. And my main moment for the year was when, in the Ninja Turtles, when Donatello betrays his brothers and Master Splinter and everyone and makes a pact with the Shredder to help take down Krang.
Oh, what issue is that?
I can't remember the number, but that kind of came around in the most recent issue. But when that happened, they played that out for months. That stuck with me. It was my favorite character, betraying the family, and that was my biggest moment.
That's cool. My favorite moment came from a book I think we all read. We've had this, not perception, but we've known kind of the origin of a certain character. Never really, it's an origin that we don't really know, but we kind of know the fundamentals, what happened to this guy. Anyways, I'm just gonna get to it. I'm trying to build it up, and meanwhile. Anyways, it's Batman issue number 37. The moment that Commissioner Gordon was sitting at his desk having his cigarette, and he started seeing the pictures of Joker in all these archival footage, and that cigarette falling out of his mouth like WT. That's the same. I had the same feeling, like reaction. This moment is very important to me because ever since I read this issue and seen these panels, I've been losing my mind trying to figure out what Scott Snyder, what kind of story is Scott Snyder trying to tell us? What is he going to do with the Joker? Is he a mythological creature? So it's that moment, especially this panel where you zoom in on the picture and you see that, like a nice homage to the first that character, the man
who laughs.
The man who laughs. Yeah, that's fantastic. I can go further, but there's two moments actually in this book that really, as the story was progressing towards the end, where Batman finds that Joe Chill Jokerized, and there's no dialogue in these panels, but I love it. I love how you see the blue panels are Batman versus Joe Chill, and the oranges is Commissioner Gordon versus the Joker. And I love the fact that both of these characters are staring at their biggest fears. They're, obviously Joe Chill is the reason why Bruce Wayne is Batman, and Commissioner Gordon that's his biggest fear is the Joker from what he did to obviously Barbara and all that. And so it's this moment with no dialogue as well that I can't decide what is. I couldn't choose which one I love the most. But this was a fantastic issue, and they both feature my favorite moments was the standoff between Joe Chill and the standoff between Joker and Gordon. Both looking at, their biggest fears in the face, and it's just amazing. So
is it John, is it in that issue or is it in the next one where, and this was a WTF moment for me, was when we find out that Joker knows who Batman is?
Can I tell you the last panel, Bruce?
Okay.
Oh, Bruce. Eric.
Yeah.
The last panel is...
Last panel.
Hello, Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah. He calls him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He calls him. He picks up the phone.
Yeah, but I already knew when 6 pages before when Batman is trying to protect his family by this Jokerized Joe Chill. They're reenacting the scene outside the theater. I'm like, okay, so this person knows who Batman is. And then that's cemented at the end when Commissioner Gordon dropped his phone and Joker picked it up and said, "Hello, Bruce." But he didn't say "Hello, Brucey." So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm freaking out here over this Endgame stuff. I honestly have like in my basement some a dry erase board with all these things I'm piecing together.
I want to see that.
You have a whiteboard of clues
Yeah.
and whatnot like
Yes.
Flash does on the TV series, right?
I swear to you, I do. I thought about recording it, but it's like, no, this is ridiculous. People are gonna say.
No, you got to show this now. I want to see this.
I might.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I won't do dry erase board, but I might do something Tuesday before midnight on Wednesday when the issue comes out. I don't know. I might, because I'm worried that if I come across ridiculous and silly and stupid and I'm totally wrong, that's the only thing holding me back.
It's never
That'd
stopped
be so
me.
much
Go
worse
ahead.
than the bathroom video.
Oh, nice.
Well,
That's mine.
you reminded me of another moment of this year that I was ecstatic about,
What's
and that was that 0 year ended.
No, that brought a tear to my eye.
Oh.
That's my favorite issue. That was my Ron Hart's favorite issue.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My favorite moment. You'll be pleased to know, John. Comes from this issue of Batman and Robin number 36.
Right on.
Which, like, I think I said this before, but this is one of the runners-up for favorite cover. But I actually I had a really hard time with this category because there weren't a lot of, I'm thinking back, it's really hard to do this particular one, I think, like the cover too, because there's a whole year of comics that I've read, and I can't remember everything that I've read, just kind of blurs together. But when I read this, or when I was thinking of these categories, and what would I choose for this category, I immediately thought of this one, or almost immediately. But it's the very end of the issue where Batman has gone to Apocalypse. His former partners dressed up in their Robin costumes in tribute to Damian, and he's fighting through was it Caliban and the parademons. At the very end, on a full page splash, you have this image of Darkseid Shadow and Bruce just standing there, being badass Batman, going, about time you showed up.
Nice.
And it's not like a huge breakthrough moment or anything, but it really reminded me. I took notes here so I wouldn't screw this up. It sent me back to my childhood, where epic superhero fights, or ones that are about to happen, anyway, in this case, were just as cool as hell, and I could not wait to read the next issue just to see what would happen between those two characters.
That's
It was just
perfect. That's perfect. Then.
Yeah, what Tomasi and Gleason have been doing on this title since the beginning has just been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sad to see that they're not going to be continuing, past, what is it, April, May? Yeah, after Convergence. So, this was such a good book. Such a good book. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
That's perfect. That was nice.
Yeah.
It's hard
Okay,
to
now
pick a favorite moment from that title.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's go. Let's talk about some creators that we've liked from the last year. Let's go with writer first. Favorite writer, Travis?
This year, Rick Remender. Between Deadly Class, Low, Black Science, I didn't enjoy the last bit of his Captain America quite as much, but still, just the breadth of work that he's doing, the different scopes that those titles are all taking on, and whatnot. His smartness to pick up the creators that he's picked up to do these books with him, I think is a big thing too. So that's my pick this year for Writer of the Year. Two of those books, Deadly Class and Low, hit the top of my list for a lot of these categories. whether I actually end up picking them or not. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Rick Remender.
All right.
Magical Matt.
Any honorable mentions there, Travis, or is that it?
No, I this year for me it feels like Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison, I think, has written some really great stuff. That probably my honorable mention with his with the multiverse, just the difference in each of those stories, but continuing to give us little things to tie it all together. I think has been pretty amazing too. And his start of Annihilator, for instance, I think that he has written some great stuff this year also. Yeah, that's the other person I would pick.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. All right, Magical Matt.
Hey. This year I was going with Alex Cott for his work on Zero, because these comics are able to take kind of silent moments without dialogue, and really make it matter and really suck you in. And normally I would attribute that to the artist. The thing is every one of these issues is a different artist, and they pull off the same trick in a different way, different story, but it's that kind of moment, and it's clear that it's the writer doing it. And for that, I couldn't think of anyone kind of doing something on that level, so I went with Alex Cott for Zero. But runner-up, I'd go with Kevin Eastman for Ninja Turtles. I just keep coming back to that comic. So.
Is Ninja Turtles your new Deadpool?
No, I've loved Ninja Turtles since forever. I learned to read on like Ninja Turtle comics, so I wouldn't call them the new anything.
Since he ate his first slice of pizza, he's loved Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
All right, John, what do you got for us?
I'm gonna go with the man who never gets any love. I'm gonna go with my man Peter Tomasi, only because of what he pulled off last year. They stripped away the main protagonist of the book. Almost every single issue was featuring not a new character, but he had to put in new characters in there and try to get and keep the story still consistent and flowing and interesting, even though we knew next week it's going to be Batman and he pulled it off. This man pulled it off well with all this crap being put up against them. And I know Peter Tomasi gets a lot of praise for the book. It's like, wow, Batman and Robin is awesome. But we never talk about just him being more. Okay, let's not talk about Arkham. The minute he did the Arkham.
Yeah, Arkham War.
Let's ignore that for a second. But I'm gonna go with Peter Tomasi. This for what he did for 2014 without Damian in the book. So he's my man. He's my pick.
Good. That's a good choice. Very good point too. Pretty much Tomasi has become one of those writers that it doesn't matter what he's doing. I will definitely pay attention, if not buy it outright.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Nice.
Tomasi's a great character. He's always been doing something at DC that's worth picking up. He's done a lot of cool stuff, and it's usually kind of like, I want to say like B books, like not the stuff they promote as much, but that usually gives him the clearance to kind of do what he needs to do, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I would even go so far to say as the book was better without Damian in it, and him trying to push it run with all that.
No.
Well, I agree. I agree in the sense that I thought it was great to see Batman's journey to get to where he's at, and so he took what could, like John said, he took what could have, basically broken the book. They could have easily canceled it in. Well, clearly there's no Robin, so there's no point in that. Allowed him, as opposed to anybody else, to tell this journey of Batman, coming to grips and then dealing with the stuff he needed to deal with in Gotham, telling its own story there with the Two-Face stuff and that sort of thing, and then getting on the task of going after Ra's al Ghul for stealing his son's corpse and stuff. And you're right. I mean, it's great. I mean, I think if they would have given it to any other writer to handle it, it would have been about stuff that wouldn't have been nearly as gripping. And so it definitely is a great book of the year, for sure.
So isn't Tomasi? I just looked this up, and I can only find one reference, but maybe I'm wrong. He's only doing one book post-Convergence for DC, isn't he? or is he doing something else that I'm not familiar with?
To the best of my knowledge, it's just Superman, Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I looked at.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm not really. And
He
well,
isn't he writing like a spin-off of one of the games or something too?
yes, he is.
Yeah.
Arkham Origins or something like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of video game books, even though I heard Injustice is pretty stellar.
Mhm.
But because Tomasi is involved with this Batman book, and it's about Joker's death, I'm actually interested, and I'm gonna give it a shot.
Mm.
So
I hate the idea of a relationship of Wonder Woman and Superman. I mean, hate, not dislike, hate. I started picking up the Superman Wonder Woman book because Tomasi's writing it, just to see if he can convince me that there might be some value in that idea.
Dude, Charles Soule did an excellent run of that book before it was interrupted by the stupid Doom storyline. But I'm glad to see that you're coming on board for Tomasi.
For Tomasi, not for the idea of that. So,
well, so you probably didn't.
I'm hoping he's going to write the divorce. That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, man, you're harsh.
now that'd be Soul. He's the lawyer.
No,
Yeah,
man.
there you go. Yeah, good one.
But
Good one.
that would be the legal end of it. The emotional, pull at your heartstrings would be the Tomasi end of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
The Dear John letter would be Tomasi.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right. If they do end up canceling that relationship in that book, I definitely would like to see Tomasi write that the ending of that relationship.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome if Wonder Woman wrote Superman a Dear John letter. God, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Delivered at the tip of her sword. That would probably be the best way to do it. So Travis, you probably wouldn't care for the last episode that I put out of the podcast because I actually mentioned this Superman Wonder Woman relationship. I actually like it, but let's move on.
Yep.
Okay, John, was that it?
Yes, I'm good.
All right. So my favorite writer, for much the same reason Travis chose Rick Remender, I chose Ed Brubaker as my favorite writer for 2014 because of the depth and the breadth of his work. We had the fantastic series Fatale come to an end in 2014, and Fade Out started at the end of the year with Sean Phillips on both those books. And if you've not read a Brubaker-Phillips collaboration, you are missing out on some excellent storytelling. And of course, he has come out with Velvet, which I will talk about very soon. Honorable mention, Greg Rucka for Lazarus, just simply for Lazarus. Greg Rucka is a great writer in general, but his work on Lazarus. Are you guys reading that?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Just read the latest issue yesterday.
Oh, that's such a good book.
Yeah.
Such a good book. Such a talk about building a universe between him and Travis.
Lark.
I don't have
Lark.
Thank you. Between Lark and Brubaker, they have come up with this incredible near future possibility.
Extremely depressing.
Yeah, it is. This world could happen in the next 20 to 50 years, and it scares the shit out of me. But it's so good. It's a really good story. Anyway, that's my choice for favorite writer. Next up is our favorite artist, and so this could be a penciler, an inker, a color artist. However you define artist, I don't care. So, what do you got there, Travis?
I went with Jason Howard off of Trees.
Oh, wow.
I was there, and there's a lot of people I could talk about that I love, but I love the way this book is drawn. His people are excellent. I just think they're drawn very well. They have great facial features. I love every book. This is the one I shouldn't have picked because it's, well, here, I'll cover the stuff that's inappropriate. But every issue opens up kind of like a book in the fact that you get your title page and there's a bleed over from the title page as the story starts and whatnot. He picks very artistic angles to have the camera shot from, for a lack of better description, of where our eye is at, the angles. If somebody's sitting at a table, drinking a glass of wine or whatever, you're not going to get it at table level. It's not going to be a level kind of thing. It's going to be not worm level, but somewhere in between that. So you get these interesting shots, interesting views as far as the world around it is very dynamic. The backgrounds are excellent because there's plenty of stuff going on back there. If you're staying in a city, there's all the stuff that would be in a city is there. Nothing is cheated along the way, and I just think it's great for a monthly book. I have no idea what else he's ever done. This is the first stuff I've seen of his, and every time I pick it up and read it, I go, oh, I gotta go look and see what else he's done, just because I love it. It has a Ryan Kelly ness to it in the facial features, as far as how well you can not read the words and know how people are feeling. It has a Gabriel Bra, Fabio Moon ness to it also, as far as the caricatures of the book. The color palette is muted but always works. It's great. It's a book where you get where he gets to draw kind of almost a romance novel of sorts to it. There's parts that are heavily sci-fi or horror ends to it. It's just got a lot of different elements that he gets to write in this, that just think that he does great stuff. Excited to find a new somebody that I'm not familiar with, and their art reaches me that well. So
Nice.
Runner-up would be Wes Craig from Deadly Class. His panel work, the craftsmanship, maybe you don't like the way the faces and that sort of stuff look, because he definitely has his own style for the book and the way he's doing it. But the craftsmanship that's involved in the paneling, the way the panels are laid out on the page, and to create energy through the book. There are some issues that have come out either the end of this year or the beginning of the current 2015 that are just amazing also, as far as the width of panels, the gutters around them, the way it creates the pacing is just incredible too. So yeah, that'd be it.
All right. So my picks were, I guess, the runner-up. I know this is going to be popular to some of you guys. Greg Capullo on Batman, and just Capullo in general. I realized I probably would have dropped Batman if not Capullo being on the book, because just going through that book, the art really stands out to me, and the writing's kind of been up and down, but just the way he does the panels and the way, as long as he's not trying to do an homage to anything, it seems to really stand out positively to me. His covers, yeah, could use some work, but as far as interiors, I think he does a damn good job. But my pick of the year is Francisco Francavilla
Beautiful.
for Afterlife with Archie, mostly. The way that book looks and draws is just that's awesome. That's amazing. And anytime you get him on a comic, it's just, you could buy the comic for the art alone. It's incredible stuff. I will say, though, with Afterlife with Archie, I would love if they gave those scripts for those issues to one of the regular Archie comics guys and see how they script with that. I think that would be kind of cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, that book, I got the first trade of that, and yeah, I agree with you. The art is just phenomenal. Francavilla is definitely a perfect choice for that story. And I can't wait for the second volume to come out. I wish it would hurry up and actually be published.
Yeah.
They come out slow. They take time, but
very slow.
They're worth it.
All right. Okay. Great choice, Matt. That was awesome. I'm gonna go with my man from 2014, breakout artist, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marco Rudy. Fantastic person. I know I'm being biased with him. This is an issue of Uncanny X-Men number 18, but actually this is not the book that I discovered Marco on. Travis and I pulled Spider-Man Marvel Knights. He was the artist there. Actually written by Matt Kint, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
And something about Marco Rudy, I just love. Just a lot of resemblance there to J.H. Williams. I think.
Mhm.
Some Sorrentino as well. Marco's style is just realism portrait, but he's the kind of guy that he'll put in 13 or 13 styles of arts into an issue.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's some panels here, and his panels aren't your traditional panels. He never sticks with the traditional panels. This issue is focused on Cyclops, so everything will be divided by beams, his beam rays. So it's amazing. I love his imagination. Talk to him a lot. He's so creative, and uh, I wish he was on a book that I was interested in, because he's doing the Winter Soldier right now, Bucky Barnes.
Mhm.
I bought it to support him, but I just something about it. I don't like the writing in it. But fantastic artist. Can't wait to see more work out of Marco. He's just absolutely amazing. And this is a guy who I wanted to buy original pages from, but I didn't know price wise, because most of my original comic book pages that I own, some are free, were given to me, paid barely anything for. And thanks to Travis here, I was educating myself on the internet how much pages are worth, and
Yeah.
I was getting a huge deal from Marco. I was getting a family discount from that guy, and I feel like an idiot right now. I should have bought pages.
You should have. You should
They
have.
were cheap. They were cheap. Now,
His art is incredibly dynamic and whatnot. I see big things for him for sure.
oh gosh, on a book that I will enjoy. I hope a nice title.
Yeah.
Oh,
I actually have that. Was that which X-Men book was that?
Uncanny 18.
Yeah. I actually have that, and I remember that 2-page spread that you just showed, and thought, wow, that's really interesting what he did there. And yeah, there are some comparisons to J.H. Williams, but it was still dynamic, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I didn't care for what Bendis was doing with the book, so I dropped it.
Oh, I love this story. But does yours have this autograph?
It does not.
You name dropping
I
SOB.
know.
Yeah.
Sorry. I gotta. Come on.
That's okay.
That's awesome.
Thanks. All right.
Okay, before I talk about my favorite artist, we have another comment here from Reedham Steven. I like that name.
Hey.
My favorite writer would be Tom Taylor. His stuff on Injustice is so good, and he is actually making Iron Man readable with his run on Superior Iron Man.
Oh,
Tom Taylor. Yeah, so Injustice. Who mentioned that earlier? Who was
I
talking
did.
about that?
the
Yeah.
video game comics, yeah.
Yeah, see, and I've heard the same thing about that book.
Right.
But I don't know. When I first was exposed to it, there were some panels people were posting pages or panels from pages on Tumblr, and there's some things that were shown that I'm like, I don't care for a story about Superman who goes crazy and kills people and whatnot. But over the last, I don't know, year or so that I've been seeing these things posted, there have been some other elements that have been shared that made me think, actually, this looks like an interesting story. Maybe I should be reading it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that has a lot to do with what Tom Taylor is actually putting on the page.
Well, maybe you came around when you decided you liked leaving Megalopolis too, which is basically a Superman running around killing people.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so my choice for favorite artist. Let's see here. Well, I'll just show you.
Oh yeah.
Terry Moore.
Terry
Here we
Moore.
Oh, wow.
That was, I just showed you. I just pulled a random issue 29, but I mean it's very striking. With the girl in the red dress doing the Marilyn Monroe pose over a grave, an open grave site. But so that's really striking, sure. And Terry Moore can draw beautiful women. We've known that since he's worked on Strangers in Paradise. But I mean, look at the background with the trees and the grass. I mean, the guy draws weather in his comics. I mean, how many
Yes.
people do that? And he does it in such an interesting and visually acceptable, I'll just say, way that it's not realistic, but it evokes the realism of the weather. He puts in pencil shading with pencil in his book. I mean, it's a black and white comic, but even some of his covers that are colored still have the pencil shading look to it. It's phenomenal what this guy can do. He can draw emotion so well on the characters' faces, and like I said, the background work that he does, the detail he puts into it is just freaking amazing. And bonus, he can do Peanuts-esque.
Yeah.
This is I'm showing the cover to SIP Kids, which just came out. This is number 2 that just came out recently, but issue 1 came out in 2014. I just couldn't find it readily to show, but so he can do funny character drawing as well as the more realistic work that he does. So the guy's phenomenal. And for those that are watching the video, if you're looking over my left shoulder here, there's a print. Was it the 20th anniversary of SIP print that he did, and showing Kachu up there. He's a great guy too. I talked to him at Emerald City Comic Con, and he's so quiet, but appreciative of the fans, and I just love his work, and he deserves any and all accolades thrown his way.
Yeah,
he's definitely on my list to meet for sure.
Great pick. The thing about Terry Moore at this point to me is that if you say like best artist of 2014, he didn't register in my mind because he's just one of those people who's like, yeah, of course Terry Moore is great. It's been such a constant for so long, it just doesn't like stand out. I just expect the stuff to be great when I pick it up, and have been for years. That was interesting when I heard people talking about Rachel Rising, kind of more last year. A lot of people are starting to jump on the book, and they're like, oh yeah, this is such a great book. I'm like, yeah, I've been saying that since it first popped on, and I just kind of figured people knew. It's Terry Moore, right? Like.
So Matt, have you read Strangers in Paradise, and what was the other one he did? Echo, yeah.
Yeah, I caught up with Strangers in Paradise as it was going, and I kind of read that in trades, and I had to wait for the last 2, which was really painful because I read all the first, most of it in like 2 weeks because he just couldn't put it down. Mm-hmm. And then getting like Echo issue by issue is just incredibly painful.
I know.
See, I did the opposite with Strangers and Echo. I bought the trades, and then, but with Rachel, I decided to jump on with the single issues. Mm-hmm. Either way, you could enjoy Terry Moore with more.
Yeah, he's such a great guy, but I went and tracked down some of his DC work because he did a small run for Birds of Prey way back when,
and it's I got that too.
Not the same in my
No,
mind.
It's not. but it's still good. I mean, I don't think that guy can draw a bad picture if you tried.
Sure if you tried.
Well, maybe if he's trying to emulate Capullo, perhaps.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm joking. Totally joking.
Last issue of Rachel Rising was fantastic, by the way.
Okay, let's move on to our favorite. And I know, Matt. Well, I think Matt was having trouble with this. Favorite media adaptation, or maybe it was Johnny.
It was both of us, actually.
Okay.
It's everybody except for you, Eric.
Yeah.
We're all comic purists.
That's it. We are snobs.
That's right. I'm an elitist hipster comic book collector, and
if it's not printed or a digital representation, it's not worth your time.
I'm not even digital. What are you talking about?
The D word. Check out
the
this
D
guy.
word again. Holy crap!
We are out of here.
Yeah.
Well, did you choose anything at all, Travis?
I did. No, I'm not a big fan of any of it. I mean, I watch a lot of it, but I don't know that I'm a fan. I mean, I'm excited by a lot of it. I did actually enjoy, surprisingly, Captain America: Winter Soldier. As far as like movie type thing go, I did actually kind of like that. Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen though. I'm so far behind on like DC's animated stuff, for instance. I haven't watched anything that came out this last year. I know.
I'm about those.
I'm missing out. I know I am. I just haven't gotten around to watching them because I've got lots of comic books to read, and that excites me more than then I'm sorry, it's the truth.
You are a
Then the media,
snob.
I am. Then the media adaptations of that stuff, there's been enough letdown type stuff that despite the 10-year-old me going, oh my gosh, all this stuff would be cool and exciting. The reality is it's never as cool as exciting as what my comic books were as a kid. So I don't know. There are aspects of Gotham that are fun. I'm finding more and more that I don't like the Flash, which I know puts me in which I know puts me in a minority. Everybody else loves that feel good, whatever. To me, it's cheesy and beyond predictable. And
Wait, weren't you just telling me just not too long ago that's a CW? That's
yeah,
what CW does?
it is, and it's hitting those so hard that it's I guess if I'm gonna have to watch CW, I'd rather be the melodramatic, over the top, ripping off Batman Arrow.
You mean Arrow, yeah.
Right, then Arrow, than the Flash version of it. So I don't know. I guess.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Matt?
We're all gonna be.
No,
So for me, it was actually really easy once I got down to it, because I was thinking, what, like media adaptation stuff do I care about? Oh, video games. The only superhero video game that really came out this year was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game, which kind of took a different twist on Spider-Man stuff. So you had Kraven training Spider-Man on how to hunt down people for a while, and you had to do different photo stuff. It was pretty decent. It was the only one that came out this year, so it was really easy to pick. It's not as good as a couple other Spider-Man video games that have come out in the past, though. So, yeah, but better than the last one. I don't know. So that's my pick.
Okay. Well, obviously it sounds like I shouldn't have had this category, but John, what do you got?
I bought all the DC animated films that came out in 2014. I enjoyed those, especially the Suicide Squad in particular. That was fascinating. Loved seeing that characterization of Harley Quinn. Fantastic. Actually, the best movie of 2014 lasted 25 seconds, and it was debuted in the San Diego Comic-Con, and that was the trailer for Batman and Superman. Those 25 seconds was the best movie I ever saw in 2014. Just because you know what? I said that loud and clear at a bunch of local comic shops, and everyone got a chuckle out of it. And one guy's like, "No, seriously," and I'm like, "No, I'm serious." So it was, but animated films. The Suicide Squad was fantastic, and I took my kids to watch Guardians of the Galaxy because they wanted to, not because I wanted to. Winter Soldier, I don't know. Everyone was telling me, watch it, watch it, watch it. I watched it. And I was like, okay, I'm not really versed in Captain America and Bucky Barnes, but this Bucky Barnes Winter Soldier is annoying. He's like stronger than Superman. I don't like it. So I know I'm the worst person to watch movies with. I do like Gotham because it's not like the comic book,
right,
which I appreciate, because I kind of don't understand when people are saying, "Ooh, Gotham's gross." Fish Mooney is not a real character, or that's totally away from the comic. It's like, that's good. That's good, because if you're trying to copy arcs and things from the comic book and you're getting it wrong, then I'd be more upset. But it's not, so I kind of welcome Gotham into my television every Monday night. But sorry, Eric, I'm probably a bad person to ask this question.
We all are.
You made me think of something else, though, that I did really like media-wise, and that was the DC stuff they put out in celebration of Batman and Superman, so like those Bruce Timm minis and like the kind of like going through the costumes of Superman and all that.
Oh.
They were put out on the web. I mean, they're only a few minutes, but those were slick. Those were cool.
Yeah, I forgot about those. Those were amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that now. I don't know.
I'll have to find them.
Okay.
But...
Send me a link on Twitter when you're done, or whenever.
All right.
Let's watch that trailer we did for Batman Superman.
Wait, so John, are you talking about the one where it's just this music in the background? They just show the logo for 25 seconds?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the one that there's thunder, lightning, rain. You see a bat signal that's off. Batman approaches it, turns it on. You see Superman hovering over the signal. It's like taunting him, and then Batman's eyes glow like the Dark Knight Returns. perfect homage to Frank Miller's masterpiece. Love it. Love
What's
it.
Frank Miller's masterpiece?
Dude.
Eric, mute this man. No, but I just love that. It was perfect. It was well done. It was such a beautiful tip of the hat to that classic story, and it's so cool how they chose that scene to show us, just to get us going.
I
don't know.
actually haven't seen that.
It came up and they took it down right away. So
Oh, okay. That's
you're gonna
fine.
if you'll find, I'll try to find you the one that I think the last one I saw was actually recorded off a cell phone. So, but I want you to get the same, feeling I did. It's fantastic. You guys
It's
see
a pity we have to wait until 2016 for that.
why don't they just tease us with some more? I don't know. I was expecting another one, but for Super Bowl actually, there was a rumor going around that they were gonna tease us with another one. But fell through, I guess, or just show us that one again in HD. I'll take it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't choose that, but I did choose. Let's see here. I chose X-Men: Days of Future Past for the favorite media adaptation. My favorite movie, superhero movie. It was great. Bryan Singer returns as director to the X-Men franchise. It's a sequel to the poor third X-Men movie, and then the X-Men reboot, which was, what was it called? First Class.
Yeah.
And it was I was just the Days of Future Past storyline is one of the iconic ones from X-Men. But what they did in the movie, what I like about the movie, and what I like about movies that do this, or like you guys were talking about Gotham, it's not like the comic. They've taken liberties. They're expanding the universe. They're going in different directions, and I felt that they did that on this adaptation. Now, obviously, it's a little closer than perhaps Gotham is to the Batman books, but they added elements to it that I really appreciated. I'm not a huge X-Men comic reader or fan, so a lot of this stuff was not new to me. I wasn't as versed in it. And so I was exposed to certain characters and situations that I just didn't know a whole lot about. So it was fun. It was a fun ride, and I'm looking forward to the next thing that they're going to do. Although I have to admit, when they did that post-credit scene with Apocalypse, yeah, I had no idea what that was. That's how unversed I am with X-Men.
I loved it.
Oh.
Everybody's going in the theaters going gaga. I'm like, and my family, who tends to go to the movies with me, were looking at me because they always look at me like when Thanos shows up at the end of Avengers, right? They're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, and I'm just going ape shit. And then I see Apocalypse. I'm like, okay, everybody's going crazy. I have no idea what this is. So, but now now I know, obviously. But it'll be fun.
We'll get you reading X-Men. We'll start on a small diet and build up.
A small diet of X-Men? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's some gems you can start with.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I like Days of Future Past.
Chris Claremont is not one of my favorite writers, so.
And there's a lot of great X-Men that's not Claremont.
I'm sure there is. I'm no interest in going back to that unless they make a movie out of it.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Why do I do these shows? I don't know.
All right.
Let's go on. Two more categories. Let's talk about our favorite ongoing series. 2014, Travis.
I'm assuming. Well, my runner-up is Low. I've really been enjoying it. I enjoy the art in it. I like the setting, this kind of apocalyptic setting, and the fact that the whatever world they're on, whether that's Earth or whatever it is gotten so hot that they have to keep receding deeper and deeper into the ocean because they're getting so close to the sun that it's basically land, if there is any, is completely scorched, kind of a thing. It is the main premise of it. It's about this family who were kind of aristocrats. They were in control of this mechanized armor that allowed them to hunt and provide for the city that they lived in and whatnot. They lose that in a pirate attack, and they lose half the family is kidnapped. The two daughters of the family are kidnapped. The husband is killed, and it leaves the mother and the son behind. And then the book, after the first issue, moves forward quite a few number of years and picks up the story of the mother who she's an extremely hopeful person, and I am enjoying the story of her and how she can figure out how to maintain that level of hope with the horrible stuff that's happened to her and the horrible things that continue to happen to her and what's left of her family is just, I think, is incredible. The art by Tanichi is just grand. It's this kind of painted work that I really love, and so that's my runner-up. The book of the year for me is Deadly Class. Absolutely love it. It is all kinds of amazing. Wes Craven's, as I talked about earlier, his panel work is just incredible. His way of creating an energy and a pace is just amazing. The characters are fun. It's set in 1987. I still remember 1987 very well, despite it being a very long time ago. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the little bits and pieces that are in here that are so much about the 80s that I think if you aren't from the 80s, you might miss, but it doesn't take anything away from the story not knowing that stuff. The book has very violent and very vulgar moments in it. The main nemesis of the book, I probably won't say his name on air, F-Face, you can fill in what comes after F, and that's literally what he goes by. That's his name in the book, but still just so enjoyable on so many levels. The relationship issues that go on in this are fabulous also. Just great. I just love it. And those are my books.
Are both those written by Remender?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Oh.
So you can avoid both of them.
Well, I have, but apparently I need to adjust my thinking.
I would say so, but whatever.
So, Travis, just real quick, you mentioned that it's set in 1987.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, how much of that year, that era, is integral to the book?
Not a lot. I mean, some people, when the book first came out, they threw some fits because the main character, people wanted to think that when the first issue or so, that they mentioned Reagan because Reagan's president and Reaganomics, and that kind of being the kid is homeless and the main character is homeless at the time, and there's some implication that that's why. I didn't really think that was necessarily the case. I mean, they're basically just describing this is the era, this is what was going on during those times. But it's not. I don't think it's an intricate part of the story. There's like I said, there's little things. There's some homage to the Brat Pack stuff that, of course, was going out in the 80s, right? As far as the movies go, there's kind of some of that there. There's some similarities and some homage to that sort of stuff. There will be 80s references in places. Because, I mean, it is the 80s, so if you see a band T-shirt or that sort of stuff, it is that stuff. Some of it is more obscure 80s stuff. I mean, now, I think people who are going back and looking at the 80s would say, oh, yeah, I know that stuff. I think a lot of it was somewhat obscure, because it'd be like the punk scene and whatnot. Clearly, me and you, Eric, having grown up basically in the same place, a lot of that scene, I think, is probably unfamiliar to us, at least, because of where we lived at tended to be 10 years behind everybody else anyway. But so it has some of those elements in it and whatnot. But it's not linchpinned on that. You could read it not knowing it's set in the 80s, and I don't think it would throw you off any. Do you, John? I mean, I know we enjoy the 80s bits and pieces of the book, but that isn't.
Exactly. That's not the reason why I like it.
Yeah, it's not linchpinned on that, but a lot of us that are from the 80s, we appreciate those bits and pieces.
Yeah, but it's a nice dusting of '80s nostalgia
Right.
that just makes me say, okay, Rick Remender, I know this book is amazing, but that's all it does.
I'll be the judge of that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
whatever.
Okay. Next up.
Oh, well, John, do you want to go ahead since we're just talking about Deadly Class anyway?
Yeah, it's not gonna. Yeah, I'll go like 2 minutes. Just saying. Travis
I
did.
can go get a drink and let you finish.
Travis did a great job talking about Deadly Class. Yeah. The reason why. I don't know what it is. See, Travis did a fantastic job. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. This is when I got back into comics. I started. I was introduced to indies because of Travis's show No Capes. Um, and of course, a lot of fantastic indies I discovered, like Rachel Rising, Peter Pan, stuff like that. But there's something special about Deadly Class. I don't know what it is. I haven't figured it out yet, but it basically is the comic book that I've been waiting for since I got back in. Okay, I know they're assassins or teenage assassins and stuff, but there's a lot of things in here that are kind of relatable and make it relatable. I don't know what it is yet. Just it's fantastic.
Yeah, the assassin part is kind of like the structure to base this around. I mean, so there are some crazy scenes that happen because of that, but individually these characters have all these other really screwed up kind of things about them and whatnot. It's got the relationship stuff going on that
Yeah.
I don't know about you. As I'm reading it, I'm like going, maybe because I'm older, and Marcus, of course, obviously is a young man, in high school-ish, basically. I'm screaming as I'm reading the book, no, don't do that. That is such a mistake, in the relationship
Oh.
stuff. What's happening,
yeah.
you're just like going, oh, God, don't kiss that girl. I mean,
Exactly. Just walk away.
Yeah.
Like I know. How far I was gonna say. Oh, one thing about I love about this class or this clique, I guess, if you want to compare it to the Brat Pack, but it's how they start off, they're introduced like they're all hard asses. Everyone has like a specialty, but you get to see how vulnerable these people are, how weak, how one of them, the first time I was introduced to this was when one guy who apparently came from a gangbang LA family have never killed a guy. So this is what I love about this book. It's not just Marcus, it's everyone in there, and they're so vulnerable. And Rick Remender does a great job, and Wes Craig does an even better job at conveying that message. So, Eric, stop wasting your time. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Well, this was the hardest one for me to pick because the
Come on,
runner-up.
Deadly Class, come on.
Yeah.
No,
Just
no,
say it.
definitely
Just
not.
say it.
No, it's not Deadly Class, man. The book's okay.
Ooh.
I like it. I read it. I get it. It was one of my runner-ups because my runner-ups was, every book I talk about consistently on Wednesdays, Serial, Wednesdays on YouTube.
Oh,
Nice
Serial.
plug.
Yeah. It's not Deadpool. It was Wonder Woman this year with Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang doing that because that is what I want to see out of an ongoing series. I want each issue to kind of, have its own thing, be its own satisfactory chunk of the story, even if it isn't completely its own story, and it all ties into this larger epic tale. Like I'd rather have these serial stories continue and build and mean something when it's all said and done. And that was one of the most impressive runs on Wonder Woman basically ever. And I think it should get extra accolades. It did something that I want to see comics do more and rarely manage to pull off. So
100% agree.
Matt, are you reading the oh gosh, who's on the book now? Finch, yeah.
I gave them one issue to try because I've been reading Wonder Woman before Brian Azzarello took over, and I like the character and all that. In one issue, I just decided I couldn't take it and dropped it. Same story with Batgirl. So DC saving me a lot of money.
Yeah. All right.
So we're down to the wire. What did you pick?
All right. So I'll start with my my honorable mention first. Just simply Alex and Ada
Wow.
by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn. I talked about this comic and my pick that I'll talk about in a second on episode 75 of the podcast. It's just such a good story. It's a romance. It's a sci-fi romance comic, which is just it's a interesting combination. I almost can't believe I'm reading a romance comic that that I love so much. But that's just the power of the story and the characters that Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn have created. The art is, again, it's if you're familiar with Luna's work, his art is kind of a simple style, but it's very very evocative in the emotional sense. Everything else is, his backgrounds and whatnot. Those are very simply put on the page, and there's not a lot of intricacy there. But the characters, the people that he draws, the way that he conveys these feelings that the characters have, comes across very well, and the plot itself is interesting. It's engaging. It's just a good book. But so every week, or every month, I should say, I'm looking at the titles that I get to read, and one book through 2014. There are a lot of good books out there, but one book in particular, whenever I got it in my shipment, it became the number one. I want to read that book in my mind, and it's Velvet by Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting. This is just so much fun. It's a spy book, which apparently I like. I didn't realize that. I don't think I've not read like spy novels or anything. I enjoyed the James Bond movies and whatnot. For some reason, this book is really killing it for me. A lot of it has to do with Steve Epting's art, which is kind of, in a sense, the opposite of Luna's. It's very detailed. There's a lot of stuff going on in the backgrounds. The characters are drawn very well. A lot of times, artists can do, the front face shots of characters, but you turn their head slightly and then things look a little off. And Steve Epting doesn't do that. He doesn't matter what angle he's drawing. It looks like the same character every time. It's just a really cool story. Velvet Templeton is this aging former field agent for the spy agency, and she gets drawn back into duty after 15 years, I think it is, of not being a field agent. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to figure out the mystery of who killed this particular person, and she ends up getting framed for it, and that's where we're at with the story right now. It's a period piece as well, which I particularly like. I'm a big fan of 1960s period piece stuff. This is actually set, the modern day of this is actually set in the 70s, but we get flashbacks to earlier times, the 60s and the 50s, when she first started doing this work. So it's just, you get all that, the political intrigue, all the spy stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. So it's my pick for the year.
I've heard people like that book, but I haven't heard anyone give it that amount of praise. So.
Really, and neither have I. So that I'm kind of, I talked about this book as well, obviously on episode 75 with Alex and Ada. Image is just, and I'll talk about this in a second, but Image has just been putting out so many cool books over the last several years, and these are just two of them, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to come out with in 2015. Okay. Last category. I know you're sad to know that this is almost over. This is most anticipated for 2015.
Oh,
no. What do you got, Travis?
I don't know. Book-wise, I think one of the books I'm most looking forward to is Paper Girls. Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang doing a book together. Super excited by that. I'm super excited to see Cliff Chiang finally get to stretch his muscles even further in doing not a corporate-owned property. So I'm really excited for that. Yeah, there are a lot of Image books that are coming out that I'm really curious and excited about. I'm probably Pollyannishly excited by the latest news to come out from DC that Dan Didio is quoted as saying that stories what matters, continuity not so much. It sounds like they're going to open the doors and let creators tell the stories they want to tell. That the reality of that probably is not the case, but I kind of want to think right now that that's the case. So I'm excited.
We can hope.
I'm excited for the second half of the year, for that, to see what that really means. Does that really mean we're gonna see something different, or does it just mean that there's been some excitement around this new kind of model of comics, this kind of younger, fresh-faced look on some of these comic book characters? Are we just going to get a lot more of that? I'm fine with some of that, but I'm hoping everything isn't that, because it shouldn't be. So I'm hoping that's not what they mean by that. I'm hoping like I said, I'm hoping that they're going to give creators kind of a little more room to, stuff that we've talked about for years now with the New 52, give them more room to breathe, to have these quiet moments, so when the big moments happen, they mean something, and we're invested in that. I'm excited by that. The news that's coming out for 2015, I have to admit it's a struggle to find the good stuff, because I'm having a hard time not focusing on the whole Convergence malarkey, the whole Secret Wars stuff that I'm not as invested in Marvel, but I tire of that whole it's going to change the universe thing. And every year it seems to be more tiring than the last year, so hard not to focus on that. So
you cranky old man.
I am crotchety old, get the hell off my comic book lawn kind of a guy. There's no doubt about it.
Get off my comic book page.
That's right. That's right. So that's my take on 2015.
All right, excellent. Matt, what about you?
I'm really excited to see what Image and maybe Dark Horse is going to be putting out, maybe Boom, and then I'm going to be really excited to dig into some back issues. That's my take on 2015.
Back issues that you already own, or back issues that you are going to acquire, or both?
Probably both, just anything but what DC and Marvel is going to be putting.
See, it's not just me.
It looks so bleak. It looks so bad, and it's probably not going to be that bad. But right now, I can't see the happy side of it.
Wow, you guys are really downers.
We are.
Jeez. I'm all depressed now. John, lighten me up here. Give me some good news.
I think you're going to like this one. Actually, just one book that I'm most looking forward to. Mainly because of I love this group of heroes, I guess. It's the We Are Robins book by Lee Bermejo. I'm a little worried. I'm not really worried, but Lee Bermejo's gonna be writing it. I've written some stuff he's done before, and this week actually Suiciders comes out. So if people aren't too familiar with Lee Bermejo writing, check it out, I guess. But for Lee Bermejo, being a fantastic artist that he is, he picked Rob Haynes and Kerry Randolph, two basically unknowns. Is it safe to say, to do the art? Anyways, the concept of the book, I've talked to this about Travis once in the Hangout. It wasn't what I was hoping was going to be. It was that concept Lemire brought up first, which is a concept that I've been talking about for like forever. The original Robins, a book of just original Robins coming together, and probably just having what's that called, water cooler talk about their boss, Batman, something fun like that. But it's going to be a group of kids that just take up arms against they're gonna debut in Detective Comics Endgame issue, I think. That's where we're going to get our first look at them. So I'm curious. It has Robins. The cover looks fantastic. That's actually one of the book that I'm most excited for 2015 is that book. Seriously.
I'm actually looking forward to that as well. Like you, I was kind of wanting a former Robins getting together book, but I'm still going to check this out. If it has anything to do with Robin, I'm kind of predisposed to picking it up. So
there you go. Eric, are you hoping for? Do you think they're going to have some, let's say, other Robins coming in and mentoring them?
God, I hope so.
They're going to
have to include some of them. Yeah. I just hope it's not just Red Hood.
Oh, knock it off. Knock it off. He's not a Robin.
Well,
Whoa.
can you imagine Red Hood and Damien trying to tell some street level people
Exactly.
this is how you should fight? I mean, it's all gonna be about
Well,
breaking. It's all gonna be about breaking knees and elbows and.
and how great would that be?
It
One
would be
issue
hilarious.
we get Dick Grayson saying, "Hey guys, this is how you do a ninjutsu sleeper hold," and then next issue we get Jason Todd saying, "By the way, aim for the kneecaps and elbows." And then
Yeah.
Damien comes in. It'd be
Yeah.
amazing. I think it'd be great.
Oh. I just see this gang of kids running around after they've been tutored by Damien Red Hood. Just they'd be a menace amongst themselves. Just
And all of a
butchering
sudden,
people.
yeah. And then what if this is the book that actually introduces Carrie Kelly as a Robin in the new DC?
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think that'd be great as well, but we'll see.
I'd like to see Tim Drake in a title that's worth reading again.
No,
Yes, Travis.
if he's
Yes.
in the title, it's not worth reading. That's
Oh
it's
my
as simple
God.
as that.
I read Drake before I read Grayson.
Ugh, ugh.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Who is this
Well,
guy?
he's my
Who invited
favorite
him?
Robin. He was my Robin.
I like them all. Well,
Ugh.
except for Todd.
As a Robin? Yeah.
He's my least favorite.
He's not.
He's
there's
everyone's
nothing
least favorite.
Not
nothing
Travis's.
special.
Oh, right.
As Red Hood, he's phenomenal. Okay, let's stop this.
All right.
So, Eric, what are you looking forward to in 2015?
Yeah, pretty much what I said just a few minutes ago. Basically, not anything. A lot of the stuff coming out that was announced for Image Expo. A lot of the books that they're talking about that may start in 2015. I'm hopeful. There's a long list. You mentioned Paper Girls, Travis. That's one of my top ones. That's Brian K. Vaughan, right?
Yes.
Writing. Yeah, you put
Yeah.
Brian K. Vaughan's name on anything, I'm likely to buy it. What else they've got? Oh, the new volume of Phonogram.
Yeah.
A couple others. Revengeance. That's oh gosh. Who's the artist on that?
He's writing and drawing it both.
Yeah. He does the Parker adaptations. But wow, I can't believe I'm blanking on this guy's name. Anyway,
That's not Tim
Tadaima.
Sales, right?
No, not sales.
No, it's Yeah, that's bad that I can't remember now either.
We're old.
Oh, I know.
That's what I say all the time when I can't remember someone's name. I think it's pronounced Tadaima or Tadaima. That's the new book from Emmy Lennox that looks really interesting. Heaven, Savior. That's a Todd McFarlane book, but I'm even interested. Just the premise of that. I'm really curious what they're going to do with that.
That does sound great, by the way. I did read a preview. Savior.
Monstrous, just only because of that the cover image, the preview image that they put out on that, just looks gorgeous. So if that's what the book is going to look like, then I'm probably gonna have to pick that up just by the way it looks. Story sounds pretty good too, but yeah. Anyway, all this stuff from Image Comics is just sounds really good. They've, like I said before, in 2014 they put out a lot of great books. I talked about them before. I talked about a few of them today. I love what Image is allowing their creators to do, to put out these great comics. I just wish everybody else, meaning DC and Marvel, would do the same thing. And not that they don't exclusively. There are some exceptions, but by and large, Image is certainly hitting it out of the park more often and much further than stuff that's coming out of the big two.
No argument from me.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
We agree on something. Is it unanimous?
Oh, of course.
All right, there we go.
Oh my gosh.
And what a great way to end the episode. Okay. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about 2014 in regards to our world of comics?
I don't think so.
No?
They didn't say at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
There was one thing I did kind of want to bring up, because in
Oh, God.
2014, well, in DC we got basically 2 decent weekly books, and I think it's kind of cool to see this turnaround of the weekly book, which DC's been trying to do for a few years now, and they've had more or less success depending on the title, and it's kind of cool to see them kind of finally get this thing down, which is I think it's a big deal for comics in general.
So you think we should have more weekly comics?
No, thank you.
Not more, but if we could keep the level we have, I think that might be good. If we can keep them decent, because you probably only want one weekly book at a time, right?
Right.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think having a weekly book is something to look forward to in the pool. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Marvel's dipping their toe in that now too, right? With Wolverines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard much positive about that, but I've mostly only heard Travis talk about it.
I think, well, Marvel's the master at the weekly, aren't they? Aren't they actually the
Well,
inventors of the daily? Amazing Spider-Man. That's what it felt like at one point.
Yeah, their release schedule for some of their books is pretty radical, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's
Even their monthly titles are
Yeah.
more than.
Like Hawkeye. Woof, that just flew.
Yeah.
It would be interesting though if one of the independent publishers tried a weekly book.
Mm.
I wonder how that would go over with us.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, not just us, but everybody. You know, it's hard enough to sell an independent book as it is, but to sell a weekly book too.
There's a lot of logistics involved in a weekly book, you know. It's,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that has to come from the big two, because I think you need the money to make that work. I don't know if even Image is at that point yet.
Walking Dead finished the arc that was double
the
shipped.
war, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I did feel a little exhausted, and I did sense just the quality did diminish a bit. That's the issue I have with weeklies. I think the quality's not there. That's all. Or I don't know. I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, now we're ending on a downer note. Let's.
No.
We should have stopped where we were ahead. Thanks a lot, Matt.
I was trying to be positive.
Okay. Well, we've been talking for almost 3 hours, I think. Some of us were over that before we actually started the show. So, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time and making the effort to fill that list out and come on here today and talk with me and everybody else about the year 2014. So let's end by reminding everyone where they can find you out on the internets. Matt, let's start with you.
My channel on YouTube is Wednesday's Cereal. Cereal as in killer, not as in a bowl of. So that's where you can find me.
There you go. They'll remember that one for sure. Johnny.
Johnny DaCosta, DC Comics on YouTube. Two guys right here, Oddfellow Sauce and Matt, part of my core group of Bat Chat. It was a monthly Batman show. Coming back for sure, sooner rather than later. And I do previews once a month as well. That's on Running with Comics channel. And that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Travis.
And of course, you can find me at Oddfellow's Thoughts on YouTube. Don't just type in Oddfellows, because then you get the whole society thing, which is its own adventure. But Oddfellow's Thoughts, and I put something out at least once a week. So.
At least, yeah.
Talk about daily.
Prolific.
And you do the comic book parfait, right?
Once a year. Once a year.
Once a year. So we're due, Travis. We're due for another one.
Probably are, yeah.
This was a nice version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and I will, of course, put links to everyone's locations in the show notes for this. So make sure you go out there and click those links and follow these great guys and watch their videos. If you'd like to leave comments about anything that we have talked about, we talked about a lot of stuff, but if there's anything that you feel compelled to message us about, you can do so. For those that are watching this video, you can do so on YouTube. Google Plus, I guess, as well. For those that are listening to the audio-only version, go to longboxreview.com, and you can leave comments there, or you can even email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. Thanks again, guys, once again for joining me on this wonderful conversation. I really appreciate it.
Loved it. Thank
Thanks for having
you.
us.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
And everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Go read some comics. Have some fun. Bye-bye.